Hi, everybody. I'm Roy Friedman. I live in Israel, and I'm the grandson of two Holocaust survivors from Auschwitz-Birkenau. I've been to Poland twice, first as a 17 years old in 1997 with my high school, and the second time at the age of 35 in 2016 as a father of two kids. Seeing the way students learn about the Holocaust these days, not flying with first-generation Holocaust survivors to the delegation, I've realized that the most powerful and tangible way of convening the story of the Holocaust is using direct method without filters. So in 2016, I started a project named NeVeR Again VR, which is a unique project that documents the Holocaust, aiming to integrate authentic testimonials of Holocaust survivors with advanced technologies, virtual reality. In 10 to 20 years, a world without living witnesses to the horrors, a fourth or fifth generation will be able to meet an hologram and look them in the eyes and hear the stories. So this is Project NeVeR Again VR. These are the main chapters that we're going to talk about. I will going to explain you a little bit about the differences between 360 video to volumetric technologies, how the technologies help me, and about the project itself. So first of all, a little bit about me. I'm the grandson of two Holocaust survivors that survived Auschwitz-Birkenau. You can see in the picture my grandmother. This was one of the last pictures that we have of her while I was getting an officer's rank in the Israeli Air Force. And on the side, you can see my family. I'm 40 years old and married with 3 kids. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm helping a number of startups here in Israel. And today I deal mainly with real estate investments in England. I love technology and gadgets, and that's how I got to this project. So a little bit about volumetric technology. So the difference between 360 videos and stereoscopic videos and volumetric video. So 360 video, normally you can record with cameras like that record each side of the 180 degrees on every side. And when you put VR glasses, or if you use your Google Cardboard, you will be able to see from your point of view what's around you. 360 degrees stereoscopical is with 8 cameras, so each one of the cameras represents another eye, one left eye and one the right eye, and then you will be able to see also depth. And volumetric video is basically when we record the object itself from 380 degrees, and we can play around it. And we can use after that to make a hologram out of it, and we can use it in a number of ways. We're going to see now Mordechai Chechanover. This is a volumetric video. We can play around with the tones of the clothes. We can move him around and watch him from all different angles. If we have a VR set and we walk around the room, we'll be able to see him from the back, and we can sit next to him. And it's not like 360 where you're in the same place and you will be able to see around you. This is a true volumetric video, so that's basically a hologram. So we can walk around, get close to him, get far away from him, and that's the difference between 360 video to volumetric video. The next chapter is about how does technologies serves me. So basically, you can see me here in September 1997, and the first time when I went to Poland, I flew with delegation to Poland, and you can see the Holocaust survivors that joined us. He was with us for the whole journey, telling a lot of different stories, telling us about how was life before the war, during the war, and after the war, and it was very, very emotional. And this is in 2016, on the second time when I flew over there, where we didn't meet any Holocaust survivors on the way over there. And from what I learned, that a visual learning, it's a more powerful experience, and you can learn and remember a lot more. And It's also focusing the students to learn a lot more, and you got a lot more attention from the kids themselves. The next chapter is about our project, NeVeR Again VR. So basically, when I came back to Israel in 2016, I started thinking about how I can connect the next generation, the fourth and fifth and sixth generation, to meet the Holocaust survivors and look him in the eyes and learn about the stories. And I came up with VR and AR. This is a small demonstration we did in the Paris Center of Peace and Innovation in front of an audience to show them how we can use volumetric video to show somebody that didn't meet a Holocaust survivor to see him face to face in the place where the story happens.
רק מה השם? סליחה. טוב, אז תודה רבה ליטל. תוך כדי שהיא רואה, אני אספר לכם קצת מה אתם רואים. אז רק תיזהרי לא להתרחק יותר מדי מהמחשב. סורי, זה עדיין על הכבל. אבל בעצם היא יכולה להסתכל מסביב וממש לראות את איש העדות. תסתכלי קדימה. את תראי, זה בגדול אבא שלי, מסביר על סבתא שלי באושוויץ בירקנאו. אנחנו, תכף נראה לכם את כל התהליך, אבל אנחנו בעצם מצלמים היום אנשי עדות בסטודיו מיוחד והופכים אותם להולוגרמות, שאפשר לעשות עם זה הרבה מאוד שימושים לאחר כך. זה אחד מהשימושים שאפשר לעשות, לבנות עולם וירטואלי שלם, וכיתה שלמה יוציאו את המשקפות מתחת לכיסאות שלהם, ישימו על העיניים ויפגשו אחד לאחד איש עדות וישמעו את העדות ממקור ראשון.
We have a lot of volunteers that helps us in this project, from Dr. Jonathan Giron from IDC Herzliya Innovation Center, a university in Herzliya that helps us to integrate the holograms into a virtual reality. We also have Tzvika Feierheisen, which was the chief education officer in the Israeli army, and a lot of other people that join us to help us make this happen. Also, we have collaboration with a few organizations from Zikron Basalon that you probably know in Israel. They help us bring Holocaust survivors to record them in the special studio. Teta V is the company that is the startup that made the volumetric studio that we can record over there the Holocaust survivors. We also in contact with David Watch from 3G NY, and we hope to spread it out in the United States, all over the 3G groups around the state, and so they can use this in the classroom to help them tell the story of what happened. And IDC Herzliya Innovation Center, as I said before, help us to integrate the holograms in the virtual reality. Now, all of us, second, third, and even fourth generation that met Holocaust survivors, when we see those pictures, we automatically know and know what to connect them to. We have some story that we had that we can connect it to, but unfortunately, the living memory is fading away. As time goes by and more Holocaust survivors die every day, we can see that there's more and more Holocaust denial, and the stories fade away slowly. We can keep this memory alive. Now, we are taking the Holocaust survivors at the moment to the studio which is in Tel Aviv. Till now, we recorded 14 Holocaust survivors with around 40 stories in different languages. Most of the recording up to now was in Hebrew, but we also have in English, German, and even French. We want to continue recording as much as we can. This is some of the pictures that we have recording the Holocaust, the different Holocaust survivors. You can see Chekhanov from the back over here while he was recording in the studio. After we have the hologram, we can use it for number of different uses. First of all, the most easiest one is to put it in a virtual museum, to put the hologram in the middle of the room, and around the holograms on the walls, we will be able to see all the information about the Holocaust survivors and their stories. We can even put movies on the stories from, let's say, Yad Vashem or Steven Spielberg movies. So they will be able to see not only the hologram, but to see a whole movie of an hour and a half about that person. Second thing we can do, we did it in the last Holocaust Day in Israel, is to make the hologram in this triangle machine kind of hologram. We have both Marianne, that you can see here while we record her in the office, in the studio. You can see her here in the hologram standing and telling her story. And this is Hannah, which you can see in the background, standing here also. She saw her hologram and she was so thankful, so she can continue to tell the story forever. The second use case, we can use the hologram or the volumetric recording, is in AR holograms. You probably heard about Pokemon Go, where the kids go around and looking for the Pokemons. So the same thing we can do with the Holocaust survivors, but with real and not illustrated people, but real video of the Holocaust survivors telling the stories. We can put it in the places where they are. So youth delegation, when they go to Poland, they can raise the hologram in the place where the story happened and watch the person over there telling the story through their phones, or in the future through their glasses, Google glasses, or even eye contacts in the future. Here you can see an example we did where we put the holograms. Basically, you see that Chekhanove is sitting here. People can sit on the bench in front of him and watch him telling the story. The same thing we did with classrooms in Israel. We said with the classroom, we put Hannah holograms in the middle of the class. All the kids were very excited. In the beginning, there was a lot of noise, and they were really wanting to know about the technologies. But after that, their teacher told me that was the first time that they all were quiet and listening to every word that the Holocaust survivors said. And after that, they wanted to have photograph with the Holocaust survivor, with the holograms of the Holocaust survivor. And in that way, instead of being just to bring the Holocaust survivor to just one classroom, in the same minute around the world, thousands and thousands of kids can hear the same story from the same Holocaust survivors. And we don't have any issues with bringing, let's say, with COVID-19, we don't have any issues bringing the Holocaust survivors with us because it's in AR. And this is an example of how the AR looks in my living room. Also, we can put it, everybody can download the holograms and watch them on the free time whenever they want. So this is an example of how it looks. First of all, the app recognized where the floor is, and then I can choose from the holograms, from the models, which story I want to hear now. And then I place the feet of the Holocaust survivors on the holograms, and then I can see the hologram in my living room, basically, and hear the story.
לפה, לנקודה הזאת, אמא שלי הגיעה עם כל משפחתה. הסיפור התחיל בליל הסדר 1944, כשאמא שלי וכל האחים שלה וההורים שלה, 11 איש בסך הכל, היו בבית, בכל המועד.
Now I can play with the AR hologram. I can put it on the table. I can put it on the floor. I can move towards it and see him closely, to see just his face, to walk around him and watch him from the back. I have a complete freedom of 360 degrees. The next thing we can do is with a VR set. We can put it in, as I said before, we can put it in Auschwitz. We can put it in the forest if it's a story of Holocaust survivors that ran around and hide in the forest. So I can put while he's telling his story, I can put him in the forest, so the kids or anybody who watch it will be able to see how it looked like. I can put it in a living room, so you sit down and watch in the living room the story of the Holocaust survivors. I just want to show you an example of 1 minute we did with Zikron Basalon.
Well, I have a message. In my viewpoint, the Holocaust Day is a happy day. I don't see why we shouldn't have a very optimistic viewpoint on this day. You see, I think that having survived the Holocaust, we are the winners. So we should celebrate, not cry. It cost us. Expensive things are expensive. 6 million people died for us to be happy, not for us to be sad. So we should celebrate on Holocaust Day and not be sad. This is a message I have for our youth and for all the young guys to come. We celebrate Holocaust Survival Day, and we're happy because we have a country and it is a beautiful one. That's what I want to say.
That was Marianne. We recorded her in Hebrew, English, and French. Now, the next thing we can do also is to do a complete VR tour. We can help the youth delegation that fly to Poland to meet the Holocaust survivors before they fly. This is an example of one of the things we thought for a full hour and a half that talks about the Holocaust. The kids can put the VR glasses on. They will see the train coming. Then they will see the different Holocaust survivors that we record. They can, if they will put on the marker on Miriam, they will see all the history of Miriam's. If they will put on Sarah, they will see Sarah, and so on. Then they will be able to see what she went through during the war, and she will be able to meet, like you met before, my father.
אנחנו נמצאים בצל לאגר, מחנה C. לפה, לנקודה הזאת, אמא שלי הגיעה עם כל משפחתה. הסיפור התחיל בליל הסדר 1944.
We'll be able to see Auschwitz-Birkenau, how it looked in the past, where all the buildings were built, and we can see how it looks today. We can click on Meet Miriam's and see a whole hour and a half of a video that was recorded on Yad Vashem or on other places. So basically the point of our project is to keep the memory alive in a world without witnesses. We have groups from all around the world contacting us, from Melbourne and Argentina, Canada, Toronto and Vancouver, from the UK, from the USA, all around the globe, talking about us, how we can take it forward and make something special that can be, so as many people as we can will be able to meet the Holocaust survivors, look them in the eyes and listen to their stories. On the short-term target, we want to record at least 20 Holocaust survivors for the POC with around 60 different stories. On the second stage, we'll do all the UX and UI for high-end experience, so people will be able to put on the VR glasses or take the phone and on AR or on the website, going on a virtual museum tour and meet the Holocaust survivors. On the third stage, we want to go into global expanding and scale up to reach as many people as we can. And in the long-term target, we want to capture at least 100 Holocaust survivors, each one with three to five short stories of 3 to 5 minutes. We want to ignite the interest. We want that the kids will see 3 minutes of a hologram, and then would like to learn more about that person and search for the whole long story of them. Our ambitious goal is to record at least 300 Holocaust survivors, each one with 3 stories. That means 900 short stories of what happened in the Holocaust. So what next? We will need around $350,000 to build a volumetric studio with a team of experts, production, UX, UI, so we'll be able to make this happen. You can contact us for everything if you want to invite us. So through Facebook, look for NeVeR Again VR, or email us at neveragainvr@gmail.com. And you don't need to wait for the Holocaust Day. You can reach us anytime and anywhere. anything you would like to donate to the NPO, we'll be more than happy to. It will help us to buy more VR sets, VR kits, training into school in the youth Jewish communities around the world, and to record more and more Holocaust survivors in the Volumetric studio. So thank you very much for you today, for listening to us, and I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you soon.
הנסיעה ברכבת, אני לא אשכח, 4 ימים ו4 לילות, ללא אוכל.
הסטודנטית הזאת צופה עכשיו בעדות של מרדכי צ'חנובר, שורד אושוויץ בירקנאו בן 97.
האיש שאני נשמתי עליו,
כשהיא מטה את הראש מטה, היא רואה את מסילות הרכבת שמובילות למחנה. וכשהיא מסתובבת, היא רואה את גדרות התיל. ובאמצע יושב מרדכי, מספר את הסיפור על מה שקרה לו במקום הארור הזה לפני 78 שנה.
זה היה קשה.
איך הרגשת שראית אותו?
כאילו הוא מדבר מאוד מאוד אליי, זה היה מאוד אישי, מאוד חזק.
אנחנו נמצאים בצלאגר, מחנה C.
הדור הזה הוא דור שהוא יותר... יהיה לו נורא קשה לשבת ולהקשיב עכשיו ל3 שעות עדות, וברגע ששמתי את המשקפיים, הקשבתי ל3 דקות של שיחה איתו, אבל זה הרגיש לי הרבה יותר מוחשי, הרבה יותר אישי. אמנם זה לא היה את כל אודות חייו, אבל זה כן מצליח לעבור וזה כן מצליח לגעת בי.
אבל למה אנחנו לא מסוגלים יותר מ3 דקות או רבע שעה להקשיב?
כשהעולם נהיה מהיר יותר, אותו דבר גם אנחנו נהיים כאלה. והסבלנות לפעמים מתקצרת, רוצים להתקדם מהר יותר, רוצים לדעת יותר מהר. במקום להגיד, אוקיי, עכשיו בשעה וחצי אני שומע עדות, בשעה וחצי אני יכול לשמוע כמה עדויות, לראות את המקום ולספוג הרבה יותר מידע בזמן הזה.